There's something about August going into September where everybody in Washington gets all wee-weed up.
What did he just say? What's that? He's gone.
I'm almost always armed. Sometimes, like when I take a shower, I set it down.
And what's she wearing? Armed and legged and all wee-weed up. Unpolitical man.
This week, the plan and the pressure. I'm Jonathan Mann. This is Political Man. And the healthcare reform plan is running into reality.
The town halls are still testing.
Why do you continue to support a Nazi policy, as Obama has expressly supported this policy?
The president's talks not getting much traction.
Our position hasn't changed.
Polls suggest Americans still don't support the plan to reform the U.S. healthcare system, and even Democrats can see they aren't convincing Republicans.
To try to pass something in a bipartisan fashion is just going to be very difficult, almost impossible.
So the Democrats may have to try a controversial overhaul of 1/6 of the U.S. economy with just their own votes in Congress, and they may not have enough.
I cannot support this bill in the version it's in now. We can do better. We can make it better.
So there's talk of procedural maneuvers to get the bill through, and a big compromise, abandoning the idea of new government health insurance to compete with the insurance industry.
The fact of the matter is there are not the votes in the United States Senate for the public option. There never have been. So to continue to chase that rabbit, I think, is just a wasted effort.
But the president says his efforts have been written off prematurely before.
Last year, just about this time, you'll recall that the Republicans had just nominated their vice presidential candidate, and everybody was, the media was obsessed with it, and cable was 24 hours a day, and Obama's lost his mojo, and you remember all that? There's something about August going into September where everybody in Washington gets all wee-weed up.
Some people may be getting wee-weed up. Other people are getting weapons. The debate has already been ugly. Now it's getting dicey, maybe even dangerous.
A handful of protesters appeared outside the president's healthcare rally in Phoenix carrying weapons, including this man with an assault rifle.
I'm absolutely, totally against healthcare in this way, in this manner.
In fact, that's a rifle slung over his shoulder, a handgun holstered on his left hip, and a bullet clip in his back pocket.
That person didn't belong to any group. He was just exercising his constitutional right, posed no threat, and was constantly monitored by either officers that were in uniform or plainclothes officers.
Last week, a man protesting outside another public meeting with the president had a gun strapped to his thigh. It was legal in both places because state laws in most of the U.S. prohibit only concealed weapons. Federal laws do essentially ban them anywhere near the president, but since the armed protesters never went inside to hear Obama speak, they never got into trouble. But a third man was arrested for trespassing inside the building before the rally. He turned out to have a loaded, unlicensed gun in his car. Checking the political pulse now, you don't need a poll to tell you Americans are skeptical about healthcare reform. But how do they feel about their president's other domestic priority, the economy? A new poll in USA Today finds 57% of Americans do not think the Obama stimulus package is working right now. Either it hasn't done anything or it's made the economy worse. And long term, 60% think there will be no effect, or again, it will make things worse. Ouch! Looking at political capital now, Congress is out of one kind of it. The cash for clunkers car subsidy is broke.
It has been successful beyond anybody's imagination.
Just as the president was making those remarks, word slipped out that the money Congress had allotted to help Americans trade in their old cars for new ones was spent so quickly, the program itself will be closed down Monday after just 1 month, and after proving to be a clunker in its own way. Dealers were selling cars, but getting steamed because the government wasn't sending out the promised subsidy checks.
As of right now, August 20th, we have not been funded yet on one deal.
And another problem, most drivers traded in American cars and bought their new ones from Japanese and South Korean companies. In geopolitics, the Egyptian president visits with peace efforts stuck in the sand. You could almost hear the frustration echo in the Oval Office.
If all sides are willing to move off of the rut that we're in currently, then I think there is an extraordinary opportunity to make real progress. But we're not there yet.
But with President Bush gone, U.S. goals are simpler. It's not trying to reshape the Middle East or demand a more democratic Egypt. President Mubarak sounded grateful.
Our relations between us and the United States are very good relations and strategic relations. And despite some of the hoops that we had with previous administrations, this did not change of the nature of our bilateral relations.
A different set of hoops from the previous administration for the president when it comes to prisoners at Guantanamo Bay.
Coming to a country near you. With the Obama administration committed to shutting down the prison camp, it's reportedly struck deals to keep many prisoners off American soil. The Washington Post reports that nearly a dozen countries are willing to take them, including Britain, France, Ireland, Italy, Portugal, and Spain. But Congress won't let them come to the United States.
The threat level in the U.S. right now is yellow. That's an official warning about the likelihood of terrorist attack, and we don't make light of it. Here's the thing.
The Secretary of Homeland Security, when the alert system was created, Tom Ridge, says in a new book that he was pressured by other members of President Bush's cabinet to raise the alert level after Osama bin Laden released a message critical of Bush just before the presidential election in 2004. There was absolutely no support for that position within our department, Ridge writes. None. I wondered, is this about security or politics? Ridge's account has been immediately denied by then Homeland Security Advisor Francis Townsend. It should sell a few books, though.
There are people out there who believe that aliens landed in the town of Roswell, New Mexico, and that there's been a cover-up to pretend it never happened.
But we do know this. There has been another kind of sighting nearly as strange. Two senior North Korean diplomats were in New Mexico this week, meeting with Governor Bill Richardson. Richardson, a former UN ambassador, has had contact with Pyongyang several times in the past.
I think they wanted to basically send a message that they're ready to engage in a dialogue with the United States.
Officially, Washington isn't talking to North Korea or aliens. In family politics, getting away from it all. Next week, the president takes his wife and daughters to a lavish and secluded estate on Martha's Vineyard, an island off the Massachusetts coast.
I do think that as he's on vacation, he will concentrate on being on vacation.
That was tougher to do on their most recent effort to enjoy some family time, last weekend's visit to landmarks in the western U.S. Cameras and microphones were never far off, capturing the president's appreciation of the timeless Grand Canyon, which he first saw as a child.
When I was 11 years old, when I was in Leo's age.
Does it look the same?
It does.
Well, here's something that looks different. The First Lady.
Bloggers are all abuzz, but you be the judge. None of us can recall the last time we saw a president's wife in shorts in general, and those in particular may seem particularly short. We've seen a lot of her arms, now her legs and thighs too. I think we'll stop there.